Hypertension or high blood pressure is called the silent killer because those who have it may or may not experience noticeable symptoms of it until it's too late. Hypertension can lead to life-risking conditions such as heart attacks, strokes, and chronic kidney disease, to name a few. In 2025, I went to my doctor and found out that I had pre-hypertension, and as a personal training dietitian who aspires to be a doctor, this was both shocking and alarming news at first until I took some time to consider it further. I had just gone through a breakup earlier in the year, and I had been making multiple self-destructive decisions such as alcohol, tobacco, and excess caffeine use. I was able to bring my blood pressure back down to satisfactory levels within a month with some lifestyle changes that I admittedly struggle with adhering to this day, but the awareness of the problem as well as the knowledge of the solution was a huge help. Disclaimer: there are a lot of different opinions and debates in the fitness industry, and furthermore, everyone's body is different. Pertaining to fitness and wellness, it is important to find what's safe, healthy, and effective for you over a cookie cutter method suggested to you. Make sure to talk to your doctor about what's best for you and your body. Additionally, I myself try to visit my doctor every 6 months unless they advise sooner. Getting regular checkups can help you get ahead of fairly easily treatable conditions that can turn into life-ending conditions. Before I go into how I lowered my blood pressure without taking blood pressure medication, I want to go over what healthy blood pressure levels look like. Following the appointment with my doctor that revealed my condition, the paperwork I received was telling me my normal blood pressure levels are about 120 over 80, meaning the force that your heart pushes against your arteries as it beats should be at 120 millimeters of mercury, and the force pushing when your heart rests should be at 80 millimeters of mercury. After a quick Google search, I realized those numbers were probably based on my age and gender, since Google AI shows varying healthy levels for varying ages and genders, reiterating that the most accurate way to find out what your blood pressure is and knowing it's healthy is to consult with your doctor. Excess body fat. One of the more major links to hypertension is excessive weight, usually in the form of excess fat, both subcutaneous and visceral. Subcutaneous fat is the fat that we probably see on ourselves and or others. The arms, back, midsection, and chest are the most notable for carrying the most noticeable fat, but visceral fat is the fatty tissue we can't see that surrounds our organs. Besides pushing against and causing stress on the organs and causing additional weight gain to your subcutaneous fat, visceral fat can release substances that can cause inflammation. Fortunately for your wellness, but not necessarily your immediate fitness as far as aesthetics go, your visceral fat will go before your subcutaneous fat. Stress. I'm sure you have heard that stress can kill. Well, that is indeed the truth. Stress can raise blood pressure in two ways: situational and daily stress. Stress from situations such as arguments, disappointments, and deadlines can cause sharp but temporary spikes in blood pressure. Stressful situations can release hormones like cortisol and adrenaline, which are the cause of the raise. However, many of us live stressful lives caused by a job, a relationship, or just our environment. Besides a daily dose of stress, chronic stress has been known to cause other behaviors that people commonly use to relieve that stress, but then cause high blood pressure in and of itself, such as smoking, drinking, and overeating. Caffeine. A nervous system stimulant that promotes alertness and physical performance that is found in tea, coffee, and coffee-esque beverages like lattes, frappes, and cappuccinos, soda, unless they are caffeine-free, energy drinks, and most pre-workout supplements. Caffeine is well known to increase heart rate and can also increase blood pressure, albeit temporarily. Stimulants like taurine and guarana, commonly found in energy drinks, can increase systolic blood pressure by 5 to 15 millimeters of mercury and diastolic blood pressure by 5 to 10 millimeters of mercury. Something else usually found in sodas and energy drinks is next on the list. Sugar. Besides the negative effects that excessive sugar have on fitness, such as weight gain, it can also lead to insulin resistance, which also puts individuals at risk of diabetes. Excess sugar intake can also lead to chronic inflammation and weight gain, a whole other link to high blood pressure. Alcohol. Like caffeine, alcohol can lead to temporary increase in blood pressure, but prolonged use can lead to a bigger impact on blood pressure. Drinking alcohol causes blood vessels to narrow and stress hormones to rise, which can cause high blood pressure and weight gain. According to MayoClinic.org, heavy alcohol users who cut back to average drinking can lower their top number in a blood pressure reading by about 5.5 millimeters of mercury and their bottom number by about 4 millimeters of mercury. Interestingly enough, those who don't drink that drink one alcoholic beverage may see a spike in blood pressure due to their sensitivity of it from lack of use. However, if someone who drinks regularly, especially long-time heavy drinkers, were to quit cold turkey, that would also cause a rise in blood pressure due to alcohol suppressing the nervous system. So the sudden lack of it causes the central nervous system to kick into overdrive, so to say, which can lead to the spike in blood pressure, increased heart rate, and in worst case scenarios, a life-threatening condition like delirium tremens. So wean yourself off alcohol if you plan to cut this out of your lifestyle. Tobacco. Now before I actually go into this, let's cover smoking in general. I myself smoke cannabis. This is no surprise to my clients since I live in one of the US states where it's legal under a certain amount. However, in 2025, a little bit before my doctor's appointment, I had been mixing small amounts of tobacco in my joints that sometimes were smaller or larger depending on how heavy-handed I was that session. These are called spliffs by a lot of people. I had started a smoking hiatus for Christian Lent from Ash Wednesday to Easter Sunday to break my nicotine addiction I had acquired from smoking spliffs. For my fellow practitioners wondering why I was mixing, that's another video for another day under another topic. I bring this up because I want to differentiate the two and how it applies to your blood pressure. Smoking cannabis innately raises your blood pressure temporarily, similar to caffeine and alcohol. Getting high typically raises your heart rate, resulting in the raise. However, smoking tobacco both raises your blood pressure for that same reason, since tobacco contains the stimulant nicotine, which also reduces oxygen levels, which can lead to strains in the cardiovascular system. The American Heart Association notes that nicotine can add to the hardening of the walls of your arteries, as well as long-term increases in blood pressure. Ironically enough, some cases of long-term smokers have been seen to have lower blood pressure than non-smokers due to its stress-killing ability. That doesn't mean start smoking, however. It means try to keep the stress down. Sodium. You have probably heard this one before, but yes, too much salt leads to high blood pressure. You see, excess sodium causes the body to retain water, which on its own can lead to bloating, which aesthetically most don't want anyway. However, with an increased retention of water comes an increase in blood volume, which in turn adds more stress to blood vessel walls and puts more work on the heart, causing more pressure on artery walls. Red meat. Red meats are meat that comes from mammals, which includes beef, pork, and mutton. Red meat is high in sodium and saturated fats, two things that can raise your blood pressure. Red meat also causes gut bacteria to produce trimethylene and oxide, or TMAO, when digested. A study done shows a link between TMAO and higher blood pressure. Fried foods. Fried foods like fried chicken, french fries, and donuts are filled with trans fat and saturated fat that can narrow arteries via plaque buildup, causing high blood pressure. Also, most fried foods are cooked in vegetable oil, which when heated increases oxidative stress, which can raise blood pressure. Lack of cardiovascular health. Regular cardio like running, biking, or swimming can strengthen the heart, allowing it to pump blood with less stress, and makes blood vessels stretch, allowing for safer blood flow. Lack of sleep. On average, kids should be getting 9 to 11 hours of sleep, teens 8 to 10 hours, and adults 7 to 9 hours. Due to daily obligations, many adults barely get half their recommended sleep at night. Naturally, our blood pressure drops by 10 to 20% when sleeping, which will get hindered by a lack of sleep and cause an elevation in cortisol and adrenaline, our stimulant friends we talked about earlier. Less sleep also keeps the nervous system active, contributing to higher heart rate and therefore higher blood pressure. However, that doesn't mean get ready to sleep in every day, because a study by Heart.org shows a raise in blood pressure for those who regularly get over 9 hours of sleep, so stick to the 7 to 9 hours. Dehydration. The recommended daily water consumption on average is 8 8-ounce glasses of water a day. That comes up to half a gallon. Many do not come close to that amount of pure water, so not counting the water found in fruits, juices, tea, etc. Dehydration is such an underrated hindrance. By the time you feel thirsty, you are well into dehydration. Dehydration causes a decrease in blood volume, which can also cause blood pressure to raise due to the body releasing hormones like vasopressin that tightens blood vessels and causes the kidneys to retain water and sodium, which can raise blood pressure. To top it off, since the blood volume drops, blood pumps more concentrated, causing more resistance and more blood pressure rise. My goals now are to continue improving my diet and getting enough cardiovascular exercise to both keep excess fat off my body and increase cardiovascular health. I cut down my sugar, sodium, and caffeine intake. The aforementioned cardio and drinking water can help you sweat and urinate your sodium levels down. You don't want them too low, of course, or you risk hyponatremia or low blood sodium. As a former daily energy drink consumer, I have gone from that back to daily black coffee and green tea, which has lower caffeine and more health benefits. As for reducing sugar, I already don't sweeten my coffee or tea, and I like cheat days once a week, so keeping my ice cream and donuts for that day. I actually believe stress is the smallest factor of my own hypertension issues due to my smoking and my whimsical outlook on life, but keeping stress down is definitely one of my goals. Red meat is delicious, but I don't feel the need to eat it daily. I stick to chicken and salmon, which hosts a plethora of health benefits and don't raise blood pressure. I put my steaks on cheat day if I do have them. Fried foods, I try to have even less than the other food issues on this list. I love Popeyes, Dunkin' Glazed Donuts, and Checkers Funnel Cake Fries to name a few of my fast food fried choices, but in interest of longevity, I try to have them on special occasions, which is not once a week. Honestly, I myself plan to try to limit fried foods to less than once a month if I can. I'm already good at getting 7 hours of sleep and at least a half gallon of water in daily. And lastly, in my opinion, my two biggest hurdles. For the tobacco, I plan to diminish that to once a year if I can't erase it completely from my habits. I won't cap on this app, y'all. That nicotine addiction is something crazy. Take them vapes away from them children. But something I didn't mention that tobacco brings for me is staggering call-out worthy migraines that have me feeling faint and short of breath. I'm leaning causation, not correlation here, because when I stopped the leaves and grappa, I stopped having migraines, and they returned shortly after my relapse. As for the alcohol, something I tell people is I actually can't stand drinking. I don't like the before or the after, but I love the middle, being drunk. When you've already finished burning your throat and you still have about 90 minutes till you hug the nearest toilet, that part is great. My compromise for myself has been drinking red wine. Allows for a tipsy feeling, usually without the sickness that liquor brings, in my opinion. Of course, everyone's body is different. And while red wine is still an alcohol and can potentially raise blood pressure temporarily, its polyphenols, resveratrol, and flavonoids act as antioxidants that can protect blood vessels, prevent blood clots, and lower bad cholesterol and raise good cholesterol. Again, this doesn't mean go and start drinking. It means if you have a daily habit of consuming liquor, studies show that switching to red wine may increase your chances of a healthier life. Let me know what you guys think in the comments and what videos you want to see me do next. Don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel for more fitness and wellness content.